Appreciate y'all being here. First off, just want to say how excited we are about the beginning of the 2018 season. Our coaches and players have worked extremely hard, through summer and through fall camp in order to make sure we prepare the right way to put a good product out on the field. So really excited about this group. Camp has been a back and forth affair. Both sides have done some really good things throughout fall camp. When one side does well one day, really as a coach and coaching staff, you really want to see how the other side's going to respond and to overcome that adversity. I think both sides have responded well. It's been good back and forth competition, which as a head coach is really what you want to see the competitiveness and each side of the ball growing each and every day. And, I like how fall camp in that sense has been. Our leadership on this team has really grown. I feel like our players have done a much better job of holding each other accountable, making sure that the discipline of our core values and who we are as a football team, has really grown. I think, the success of any team is going to come down to how well that leadership does throughout the year of overcoming adversity, sticking together. And when coaches don't have to step in and, lead, you're always that's when teams really start taking off, holding each other accountable, and I think you're going to have much more success when players are buy into our core values and start to lead themselves and to being successful. So really proud of this group for doing that. We have a lot of guys that have stepped up, who have developed as not only great teammates but great leaders, and we still got to continue to build and grow some of these younger guys and bring them along and continue to develop that through for the future years as well. There has been a lot of written about this football team, and I've stressed a lot to our players about going into the year about we won a lot of close games this past year because of the way we prepared, because of the way we made big plays down the stretch when we had to, our team chemistry, how we overcame adversity as a team. And there's no doubt in my mind, we're going to have to prepare this, the same way each and every week. We've talked to our team a ton about our process, which is we talk about our character, which is who we are, is going to drive our process or our preparation. And in the end, it's going to drive our results. And not only on the football field, we talk about off the football field, in life, in the classroom. How you prepare each and every week is going to dictate about, what your results are going to be. There's no doubt in my mind that this team, we can be very successful if we prepare the right way. We come together as a team, we can beat anybody on our schedule. But at the same time, as you've seen within our conference and our non-conference schedule, anybody on our schedule can beat us any given week if we don't prepare the right way. So I like where we're headed. I like the start, of our camp and the way we've gone about our process. And looking forward to playing a really good SMU team this week, a team that's going to be very motivated and very well coached, and it'll be a lot of fun. That'll open it up.
Yeah, you mentioned the SMU team, kind of the turnover they had from last year to this year. Kind of, what are you expecting to see, or how different are you expecting them to look, and how do y'all go about preparing for that with them being a very different team?
We have a good idea of, what they're going to do offensively, defensively, special teams. It's a new coaching staff, so you're not 100% sure on all fronts. But at the same time, you kind of have a good idea of who they hired, what their philosophies are. The one thing that I feel like we can expect is a very physical football team. They're going to want to, be able to run the football and be able to stop the run. I think with Coach Dykes and, his background, I know he's a tough man, and he's going to hold those guys accountable to being a very physical football team. And so, again, we got our work cut out for us on making sure we're able to match that. And again, that's something we stress a lot as well. Making sure we dominate at the line of scrimmage up front, offense and defensive line, making sure that we're disciplined in our assignment, our alignment, and attention to detail. So, it's still football. We have rules to our system to where, whether what front coverages they're giving us and or what sets on offense they're giving us, we have our rules to go back on and make sure. The biggest thing is going out there and playing within your system, trusting one another to make big plays and be the most excited team to play.
Are they just going to be a different team without Sutton and Quinn?
We'll see. I mean, those are definitely two really good players, and both those guys hurt us, in the past couple of years, and so. Again, with special players, we've all had them, and other guys step up and get their opportunities to become special in their own way. And so every team's different, every year's different. For me to say they're better or worse because of those guys, who knows? No, the time will tell. But at the same time, I know they got great players. I know they'll be very well coached. I know they'll be very motivated, and we're going to have to play our best in order to have success.
With it being SMU, is it grown into a rivalry game that you feel like
any school that's 30 miles down the road, you recruit against them. Your fans are passionate about this games on both sides. It's talked about. It's the first game of the year. Everybody's talked a lot about it. It's definitely a rivalry and something that I'd imagine both schools have circled, and it's an important game. Obviously, the first game of any season is very important, but at the same time, again, being so close and all the things that come into play, I definitely think it's an important game, and I embrace the rivalry. I think it's great for us to, and teams to have those rivalry games, and for them to be very competitive and to go out there and compete.
As far as the running back depth chart goes, are y'all still trying to see, are you maybe going to just favor the hot hand like Coach Harrell said last week, or is it kind of settling more?
Yeah, again, I've said it all along. I feel good about our running backs group. Coach Joyce has done a great job with those men. I feel like we have a lot of depth, guys that can, any given game have really big games. I think it's more of making sure that someone's going to obviously have to go out there first and start the game, and depends on what kind of rhythm we have and kind of how the game's going, depending on how much we sub or how many guys get reps. And so, we'll see. But I'm confident in that group. I'm excited about what they bring to the table. They've been working extremely hard, and they know, they understand, what that they're having to overcome a very good football player in Jeffrey Wilson. But at the end of the day, they embrace that. They're excited about the opportunities that they have, and I think they're going to be a special group.
Last year, Jalen got off to a hot start in the first 6 games or so of the year. In the second half, it got a little tougher. He had the injury and whatnot. But are you expecting teams to maybe lock in on him a little bit more in the early part of the year, since they know what he is?
It'll be interesting to see. Whether it's JG or you got Rico, you got Mike Law, who led our team in receptions and yards, and Kelvin Smith, Darden. You got a lot of guys there that have the ability to make plays, especially within one-on-one matchups. So, again, we're going to take what the defense gives us, and if that means that they're trying to double up on a receiver, and then other guys have to step up and make big-time plays for us. But we're confident in that group, and we'll just kind of see how. I think every week probably going to see something a little bit different, and really doesn't matter. I think, again, it goes back to making sure that we understand what we're trying to get accomplished. You play within our system and distribute the ball to where it's supposed to go.
What have you seen from JG as far as just his mentality over camp, and just how he's gotten more comfortable in this offense?
Yeah, playing a lot faster. I think he's had a really good offseason. This summer he's gotten a lot bigger and stronger. His numbers are off the chart right now, him and Rico, to be honest with you. And so, I think I'm really excited about, this season with that group overall. I think we have a lot of talent in the receiver room. And, I think another thing that comes into it is just how much more confidence they get, throughout, fall camp. Some of the plays they made last year, I think, really built their confidence level up. And, as you get out there and start making plays, that's what you need. And the more plays you make, the more confident you get. So I'm looking for a big year out of that group. But again, they put in the work. They've done a great job of preparing. Now it's about going out there on Saturdays and making the big-time plays.
You mentioned that You know that this is a rivalry game with SMU. Considering they've beaten North Texas 3 times, or what would a win like this do for your guys' program?
Yeah, well, look, rivalry, no rivalry, every win's huge, and at the end of the day, that's our mission, is to win every single week. And so, but it's huge in the fact that it's game one. It's huge for the fact that we're playing at home in front of our fans, our alumni, our students. It's big that they are 30 miles down the road, and our fans, our players, our coaching staff, we take great pride in competing against a school 30 miles down the road. And yeah, it'd be a big win for us.
You mentioned, in the days leading up to this, to the season here, that you and Dykes have been close for a long time. Where did that relationship begin and develop between the two of you guys?
Well, we worked together at Texas Tech, for a lot of years, and not only Texas Tech, but at University of Arizona. And again, been a really close friend of mine for a number of years, and our families are really tight. But I can tell you, we haven't spoke much this week. Last couple of weeks during fall camp. So at the end of the day, it's football, and we both have our own families that we're preparing and trying to get to a place to where we can have success. And it's another game. I mean, it doesn't really matter who's across the field. It's a football game, and so our relationship won't change one way or the other.
So did you guys just develop that friendship over football when you were those previous schools, Texas Tech and Arizona?
Football, or again, our families are extremely tight. Our wives are extremely tight. That's the game, to be honest with you. Put the cameras on them at halftime. Hopefully they're not sitting together like sisters. So they may be up in the stands fighting or something. But no, just a great family. And again, we do a lot with them, and our children are very tight. But again, I think at the end of the day, I think there's probably been a lot of talk about that probably too much, because at the end of the day, it's a football game. And, it's about going out there, preparing the right way, and competing. It doesn't matter who's on the other sideline. Whether it's your mom, your dad, I can promise you, it doesn't matter. You want to win. And so, yep, I love Sonny. I love Kate. I love the family. But on Saturday, we're both going to go out there and compete to win. And I promise you, I'm not going to, one way or another, he's not going to care about my feelings, or I'm not going to care about his feelings before, during, or after the football game.
The university scheduled this wrestling match to kind of promote this game. Did you have any role in that, and what's your opinion?
No, I didn't have a role. Maybe I've always wanted to, get JR to let me go down there and maybe do something. I don't know what my finished move would be, but I would think like a DDT or so. I just don't know if I could get that big sucker up that high. I don't know if I have the strength to do it, but I think it's awesome. I've been a big fan, and it'll be a cool thing for our fans, and I think it's great.
You just appreciate the effort of the university. It seems like college football attendance has declined. You see that every year. Doing things like this, do you think that helps potentially to bring more fans in, or is that kind of the hope there? And
I think so. I mean, again, just bringing different, exciting new ways to, have the fan experience. Not only going out there and watching two teams compete at a high level, but also getting the opportunity to see some of the former greats, put on a show, I think maybe at halftime and after the game. So I think you're getting, as a sports fan, I think you're getting a full day of excitement. And, me for one, I mean, if I had the opportunity to go do it, that'd be something I'd be very interested in, taking my family, my children, and going out there and having a great day.
Did you enjoy wrestling when you were growing up? Did you ever
Absolutely,
watch?
Yeah. I grew up wrestling. I started wrestling when I was 5 years old. A little different style of wrestling. We couldn't DDT people and choke slam them and stuff. But yeah, I've always been a big fan. Again, it's awesome.
You enjoyed the pro wrestling type stuff? I
do. I enjoy it. I really do. I've watched it throughout high school, throughout college. It's very entertaining, and I've known Big JR for a lot of years. Having been growing up around my area, he's from pretty much the next town over. Being at Oklahoma, he was always present, and we have a great relationship. So getting the opportunity to see him on TV was very exciting, especially with a person you know, in that sport, who's very famous. It's fun to watch him on TV, especially if you know him in that relationship. So, but I've always been a big fan, and again, I'm not the biggest on our staff. I can probably, you know, probably Graham Harrell, ask him. He knows everything from who knows when. Him and Ren are, I think they want to get out there and maybe mix it up a little bit, which would be awesome, to be honest with you. Maybe we ought to put them against each other. I think that'd be a heck of a match.
Yeah,
If I can tell you this, if Ren can, or if Graham could weather the storm for about 30 seconds, I think he has a chance. If not, don't let Big Ren get his hands on you though, Graham. You know what I mean?
And on your depth chart there, it looks like Jamie King has cracked it after moving over from tight end to linebacker. Did he just develop quite a bit?
Yeah, he works extremely. He's really smart. He works hard. He's a great teammate. You know, I think he's really just continued to develop and make plays and get more comfortable. But he's had a really good spring and fall camp. So I'm really excited to I'm happy for him, you know, getting the opportunities and finding a home to where he can really help this football team. And so, yeah, I'm excited to watch him go out there and compete and make plays.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Good.
Analyst for your leader for the season, and I know he leads everything offensively. I just want to kind of talk about Casey Martin, that quarterback. I know he was outstanding in his senior year at out there, man. I think it was a man led all the way to the play of Jerry Jones' son and state championship game for all. So, well, what are you expecting from Mason Fine to Casey Martin? I know Mason Fine had a great year under Alex Morris, and he ended up developing to what we see him as today. What are some things that you're looking for Casey Martin to do behind Mason Fine?
Learn and grow. And I think he's, you know, for a guy to come in here mid-year and start in January, to be honest with you, the spring ball he had was exceptional. You know, he's a coach's son. You know, he's been around the game a long time. He studies it. He understands it. And I thought he was very impressive as a true freshman coming in mid-year as a quarterback. That's not easy. And thought he handled the transition very well. Wasn't too fast for him, although as he got into spring ball, you know, he got more comfortable. He works extremely hard. Talk about the teammate. Everybody, you know, knows what type of person he is if you've seen any of the videos on whatever after that game. And you know, he was raised the right way. He has an unbelievable family. And again, you know, he's been really good. We have high expectations for him in the future. He just needs to continue to grow and learn and, you know, stay humble and learn from a guy that has been through this process for the last couple of years, through some ups and downs. You know, Mason, you know, as a true freshman, he didn't get here in January. He got here in the summer, and the way he worked, he put himself in position to where by game 2, Mason was starting. And he had some ups and downs, like any true freshman would have at quarterback playing at this level. But you know, now it's all those guys need to take the opportunity to really watch how he prepares, watch the amount of tape he watches. You know, Mason's just like another coach in a way of he goes and trains, he does his nutrition, the way he puts his effort in the classroom and the study hall. He comes back and watches a ton of tape, and then he's here all the time. And then as a quarterback, you have to be another coach on the field. And so just grow and develop. I think he's going to be not only a special person, but we have very high expectations of him and all those men in that quarterback room and their future.
Thanks, Coach. How do you feel about your senior class as far as knowing that they're in the class before the McCartney era and that they started playing as freshmen there?
You know what? You'd have to ask them. I don't know. I haven't.
How big do you think of it as for them, knowing that they?
I can't understand. I'm sorry. I can't understand you.
How big of it do you consider a season for them, knowing that they came off a one-win season to now considering Conference USA championship maybe?
Again, you'd have to ask them. I don't know. All I know is they're my family. And when I got here, whoever recruited, it doesn't matter. When I got here, I mean, you grow relationships and you become part of a family. And, you know, I'm excited for those men. Obviously, the amount of work they've put in, I'm extremely proud of for the fact that they put in a lot of work and they've bought into our culture, and it's not always an easy transition. And so you would have to ask them kind of how they feel about it. But for me, I'm extremely grateful for that group. They've worked hard. They've been great teammates. The guys that are here, we got a special group, and I think a group that, again, we continue to build on our character and prepare the right way, has a chance to have a very special year. But they know the amount of work they got to continue to put in this. But I am proud of that group for all, they've overcome a lot of adversity through some transitions, through a lot of different areas. And so, but just like them, I love our team. It's family to me.
Just real quick, I know that you value your athletes very much and you value their health as well. The high school at the Denton ISD recently reported that there has been a decrease in the amount of concussions that their athletes have had. And the question I have is there a strict protocol that you follow to ensure your athletes' health? And if so, what does it entail?
Well, absolutely. Player safety is whether it's concussions, whether it's whatever the case may be. The first thing that we do is make sure when we talk to our players about communication and making sure that everything's communicated through our trainers, our doctors, and they come to me, and tell us what the situation is with any student athlete. And my whole thing is I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. That's not my expertise. That's not my training. I'm a football coach. And so, I think we're doing some really good things, not only in the game of football to eliminate some of that with some of our practice, some of our different measures of how we go about it, the amount of, eliminating two-a-days. There's a lot of things that go in at how we're, kickoff return. There's a lot of different rules that are set in place. But more importantly, I think it's making sure that, again, they communicate, you communicate it with each other, and at the end of the day, you let doctors and guys that have that expertise and that training and that knowledge of that department, you let them do their jobs. Look, we all want to win, but more importantly to me is I want to make sure that we go out there and compete at a high level. But look, this is a game of football. We all love the sport. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love it. But my ultimate goal is not the next 4 to 5 years of your life, but who are you as a man, as a person, as a father, as a husband in the community 40 to 50 years from now. So we want to keep everybody safe. But at the end of the day, we all know it's a physical sport. Things happen. But I think as long as you have the player's best interests at heart and you follow the professionals, meaning the doctors and our training staff, that's what we do.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.